Good evening and welcome to Friday Night Blitz on live stream STL. We're live from Jefferson High School in Festus, Missouri, home to the Jefferson Blue Jays. Our matchup today is between the St. Vincent Indians and the Jefferson Blue Jays. Ray Halbrook, Matt Bates, two teams here, one trending upward, the other about to secure the I-55 conference with a win tonight here in St. Vincent, coming in 7-1. And Jefferson R7. The Blue Jays are trending up a little bit here as well, 4-4 on the season.
And hopefully we can pull that out. It's going to be take a good performance though tonight. Jefferson's coming alive down the stretch and playing really good football. So it's going to be a battle, but you want that going into districts as a final test, dress rehearsal before it starts getting real.
We had a good week of practice, good week of prep, so we're going to go out and put our best foot forward.
Snap back. Quarterback just going to take it. He busts out to the outside. He breaks it daylight all the way in. Give him 6 on that one for Cole Williams. 24-yard TD run. The home of the Blue Jays, and here they come quick to the line on a 4th down play. Gives to Ussery. He bangs, he pounds, he finds his way through. 5, 2, 1. Into the end zone. Sean Ussery, give him 6. Center should be a quarterback keeper right up the gut. Met a brick wall up front, but he sneaks in nonetheless. So Schaff gets the 1-yard TD run. Rounded out. Here's under snap. Airs it out to Breeze. He catches it and is in for touchdown. 29-yard TD pass. Clock here. Williams under center. He's going to turn. He's going to keep. No, he's going to keep. He gives it to Stokes. He goes outside, 16-yard TD run. Schaff, hands off to number 31. That is Drake Robinson, and that is a 10-yard TD run. 5 now. Blue Jays, Williams, lob pass in the end zone, face guarding, but Breeze still hauls it in anyway. Keep the flag in the back pocket. That is a 6-yard TD pass. Nice. But nonetheless, Cole Williams drops back, and he just fires, and he has Sam Stokes, 41-yard TD pass. Left in the third quarter. Fake to Reitzel this time, didn't even bother clamping on the ball. Throws it all the way back across. Reitzel breaks off one tackle, and he sneaks into the end zone. Schnitzler just missed him, but that was all the way back across the field. And that is Hafner in motion. He gets the ball on the end around, breaks out of one tackle, and he's just going to sneak on into the end zone on a 14-yard run with 7:15 left to go. Being called up to stand out to his right. Kind of floods the backfield a little bit. That is a touchdown for St. Vincent. That is a pass to Caden Castle. 10 yards. Nonetheless, that will do it for here. For Ray Halbrook, this is Matt Bates. This is the Friday Night Blitz on Livestream STL.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Upon Further Review. Ray Halbrook, your host here. Bringing in my other hosts here, Mr. Matt Bates in the middle and Jeff Whitener on the end there. Gentlemen, another amazing week of football. And how's everybody doing today?
Doing fabulous, Ray. Thanks for asking.
There we go. And
doing great. A weekend of football, chili, hot dogs, bonfires. It's fall. One season ends and another begins this week.
There you go. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the last game of the regular season here in Week 9. And our results are in front of us here. We'll start with the Jefferson-St. Vincent game, 46-28. All three of us were at this particular game, so let me give my take on this first. Very, very well put together game from Coach Atley, and the Jefferson Blue Jays did everything they needed to do to suppress what they needed to do with St. Vincent, and was able to be successful in that. Matt?
St. Vincent, on paper coming in at 7-1, and I think as I mentioned during the broadcast, I mean they didn't play like they were outclassed going up a class playing against Jefferson. They just seemed to shoot themselves in the foot and couldn't get the motor going. I mean, Schaaf had a great game. Cruz Reitzel, their running back, sophomore running back, had a great game for them as well. But it was just every time they seemed to get momentum, they would have a costly turnover, number of penalties, put themselves to where they were just, turning the ball over. And Jefferson, to their credit, just made the most of every opportunity that St. Vincent gave them. To say that St. Vincent didn't have much to play for, I don't think that showed. I think it just went back to St. Vincent beating themselves. I mean, Ussery was pounding the ball all night, 10 carries, 97 yards. He finished with 991 on the season, just 9 yards short of 1,000. Sam Stokes, 14 carries, 84 yards. So, I mean, those two kids alone just almost brought a collective 200 yards rushing against them. But the crazy thing was Cole Williams, who had kind of a coming out party, if you will. Even though he only went 3 of 4, those 3 completions all went for TDs. But it can't go unnoticed with the linemen up front with Connor Armstrong, Mason Campbell, at least those two, where, I mean, it was all night. And even into the fourth quarter, these young men were still going at it. I mean, they had both of their blockers on roller skates, continuing to drive through the whistle. And Ussery with his 10 tackles on the night, once again, it was another two-way effort for him on the offense and on the defensive end as well. And so, Jefferson did what they needed to do on paper to get Coach Atley, and the team that 5-4. So at least finish the regular season with a +1 game above 500. So congrats to Coach Atley and everybody on down. Jeff.
Well, you touched on all the high points. The way the defensive line played, I mean, both ways of the line played great, and all of those guys are two-way players. But the way the defensive line was able to get enough pressure on the quarterback, not all the time, but enough. Jefferson's defense was sort of a bend, but don't break mentality there against the Indians, and it served them well because they couldn't stop St. Vincent all the time, but they did just enough to limit the damage. And as you said, Matt, on any turnovers, they were there to pounce on it and take advantage of the situation. And on offense, the Blue Jays really spread the offense around, whether it was Nate Breeze, Ussery, any of those guys, Sam Stokes, but also Cole Williams, as you mentioned, all of those guys scored touchdowns, right there off the bat. And then the other gentleman I can't think of right now, number 1 on the offense as well, are Carson Hafner. All of those guys. So all these individuals got into the offensive flow, and I think that benefited Jefferson quite a bit heading into the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And I like the way Coach Atley rotated Hafner out of you took a young man out of the quarterback role, brought Williams in, and he could have, sulked or complained. But the way Atley rotated him in, using him out of the backfield, spreading him out, lining him up in the slot, he posed another threat in and out of the backfield as well. So, another credit to Coach Atley for being able to utilize Hafner's talents as opposed to just rotating him in out and just rotating him out of the lineup altogether.
Hey, we're here with Coach Matt Atley from the Jefferson Blue Jays. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. Well, great win for you guys Friday night against St. Vincent. Pretty much had control of the game, the entire game there. So take us through that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of had a plan in place all week, and we knew they are offensively they're a very, very good team, and defensively they're a very sound coach team. So we knew that on the defensive side, if we eliminated the big plays and really kind of made them drive the field, they may struggle a little bit. And we knew we could score because the way our offense has been playing and the way our kids have been playing and playing a physical brand of football. So we came out and we were hoping to go down, obviously score on that first drive and really kind of set the tone, but it didn't work out that way. Next best thing, we pinned them at the 1 yard line. And then, we were able to get the ball back in great field position. And obviously Cole kind of did the rest from there. And really from that point on, like you said, we were kind of in control the entire time. I think it was 13-0, and then they scored, and 19-7 and 21-7, or excuse me, 25-7. So, I was just so proud of the way our kids came out and responded, especially on senior night, to send those seniors out on a high note. And it really says a lot about them as to how much the team respects them, and definitely wants to be sure their season is all it could be.
Absolutely. We'll talk a little bit more about your seniors here, specifically Sean Usry had a heck of a game, 16 rushes, 97 yards. Cole Williams, he only had to pass the ball three times, but four times, and three completions for 3 touchdowns too. So had a great aerial game plan. Some really sweet passes. I'll just give kudos there to Cole Williams on couple of great fade routes, and just laid him in there really nice, and had a pretty decent day last night.
Absolutely, he did. He's came such a long way. Him and Nate spend so much time. Nate Breeze working on routes, and Brandon Burford doesn't really show up on the stat sheet a whole lot, but him and Brandon stay after, and Caden Rundell stay after. Those guys just continue to work those routes, and Cole knows exactly where he needs to put the ball, and Nate kind of knows exactly where the ball's going to go, and he's just a great talent at playing it. So, when you can do that, and it always helps us out that we run the ball the way we do, because most people can't double Nate, because it just takes someone out of the box and kind of puts him in a tough spot.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have John Burroughs, but you're waiting to hear what they do here Saturday to find out if you're hosting or if you're going to be at John Burroughs. What is the game plan moving forward against John Burroughs?
Well, I know they're 4-4 right now, but I don't think that's really kind of accurate of the team they are. They're a pretty good football team, and I know they got a lot of talent. They play a tough schedule. I know they played MICDS, Lift for Life, Westminster. So they play some pretty good schools. Priory, who's one in our district right now, and so they play a tough schedule. So I think their 4-4 isn't really a true 4-4. They're really going to come out and get after it. They run the ball quite a bit. And when they do throw it, kind of similar to us, they kind of get the ball in the hands of the playmakers and kind of just let them go. And they got some athletes on the edge they can do that with.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we appreciate the time catching up with you, and good luck to you the rest of the way here.
Thank you. I appreciate it, sir.
And that's Coach Matt Atley from the Jefferson Blue Jays. It's time for our Upon Further Review Player of the Week segment here, and we're here with Sean Usry from the Jefferson Blue Jays. Sean, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing just amazing.
Awesome. Well, we covered you guys over the weekend here, and great win over St. Vincent. Guys have really been bringing it on the last few weeks. Let's go through some of your stats here real quick. Just in the game Friday, 16 carries, 97 yards. Overall here, you're 9 yards away from 1,000 yards rushing, a little over 1,000 in the total yards. So having a great season. Take us through this season, how you think the Jefferson Blue Jays have been doing.
I think we had a very slow start. We just had to take the time to kind of find our groove and find our identity. And, well, it's starting to click at the right time. Postseason, you should be playing your best football right at the end. So,
absolutely, and we've talked a little bit about just once you're done with high school here, you don't have any commitments yet, but is there plans to move on and maybe pursue football beyond high school?
I would love to. It's like my dream. I don't have any offers, no commitment right now, but I'm hoping as the season ends and after the season, I can get some looks. I can get some recognition and get those offers that I just am dying to get.
Absolutely. Now, do you play other sports other than football?
I play basketball, not the best at it, but and I run track, which we went to state last year. Actually, got the shirt on right now. Ooh.
Absolutely awesome. Whoa, there goes your phone.
Ooh.
That's okay. No big deal. It looks great. That was awesome. Love the shirt there. Final question for you here, real quick, and we'll let you go here. It's time to give a shout out to a player, a parent, coach, anybody that might be a mentor of yours. We're going to give it to you for being Player of the Week.
I mean, Coach Atley has taken a very big step up this year as head coach, and he's starting to find his groove. And it's just as he finds his groove, everyone else finds their groove. And our quarterback, Cole Williams, he has been improving week by week. It's crazy to see the man that he's become on the football field since the beginning of the season. And as well as our offensive line, like the boys like Connor Armstrong, Nate Bernardo, Mason Campbell, Brady Sadler. Did I say Nate Bernardo? Yeah, I
hate it.
But they are just improving week by week, and I love being able to just see the defense flat backed and the offense right on top, and I'm running right through that hole that they made for me. It's amazing.
Awesome. Well, man, we appreciate the time, and congratulations on being Player of the Week.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
That's Sean Ussery from the Jefferson Blue Jays. Look at Bayless DeBerg. Unfortunately, my DeBerg Cavaliers did not get the job done this time around. So, unfortunately, an 0 first season for the regular season. They go into playoffs hoping to pull out a miracle. St. Pius X 27 and Perryville 18.
Real quick, I want to touch back on Bishop DeBerg real quick. In the season, Jack Masters had 1,789 yards, 11 yards short of an 1,800-yard passing season. 7th in the area in passing, and this year they had 8 players with a touchdown, which, when you're getting shut out week after week, year after year, to have 8 players at least to put the ball in the end zone, tip of the cap to Coach Masters for the year, at least trying to get everybody on board for the next coming years with their program.
Okay. Beautiful. Moving on to the Pius Perryville game. Jeff, I think you had some stuff you wanted to talk about that as well.
Pius, at least right now, looks like they're sitting at 3rd with Brentwood and Crystal City playing up above them, at least 1-2 in the rankings in that district. Nolan Sipple, 20 carries, 264 yards, 2 TDs. Impressive night. And Pius was up 21-18 at the half. So this game was really a nail biter, even down to the 9 points that it wound up being at the end of the ball game, because it looks like they just put a touchdown in like the last 5 minutes of the game.
Well, guys, I think what's most impressive about St. Pius's this year is their very good quarterback, James Smith. Then we saw them early in the season, how they played. James Smith has been sidelined with an injury ever since the 9/28 game against Herculaneum. He's been out of the lineup, so they've had to go with a very inexperienced quarterback this year for most of the season. And for the most part, they've gotten the job done. It hasn't been pretty, but there's a lot of on-the-job learning process there, but they've gotten the job done for the most part. And I do have it on good authority. Last week, James Smith did take snaps in practice, and they expect him to make a return sometime here in the district playoffs. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure if that district's. I've looked at the seeding, and they were when I looked yesterday, they were seated in 4th. Below Crystal, but I haven't looked at it today, Matt, so maybe you have some updated information. So, yeah, looking ahead in Class 1 District 2, Crystal City finishes in 3rd with 53.44 points, St. Pius in 4th with 50.75 points. So Crystal City will be hosting Louisiana in the first round. We'll talk about that a little more here in a minute. And Grandview will travel to St. Pius for the first round in that district.
There you have it. Awesome. Moving on. Jackson 52, Festus nothing.
Nope. Jackson goes to 6-3. Festus falls to 4-5, and that was tough sledding against a Jackson team. Then I really thought Festus was going to put more points up in that game, but apparently not.
Melville 13 and Northwest 10. We were monitoring this game, and Northwest was actually ahead for quite a bit of the second half till really late, and then all of a sudden they let that game slip away as well. So unfortunately, Northwest goes over as well. Oakville 35 and Parkway South 7. And Oakville starting to get back to their winning ways.
Yes, great job by Oakville sealing the deal on that against a very tough Parkway South team. You had a collective 210 yards rushing. Damian Moore, 18 carries, 95, followed by Ethan Venable, 13 for 65. So, when you average about six yards a carry, just slow, steady wins the race. And, they chucked up TDs every quarter. And when you hold your opponents to only one score in one quarter, that equals a winning tally.
There you go. Windsor 44, Cuba 6. Great job out of the Windsor Owls.
Jordan Foster, 24 carries, 252 yards, 4 TDs. Great day at the office for him, even though Windsor goes to 4-5 on the season.
Okay. Orchard Farm 35, DeSoto 10.
This was a sneaker that this was the game we kind of had highlighted last week where we thought DeSoto could have snuck one out, but Colin Sinclair for Orchard Farm went 18-30 and slung it for 267 yards and 2 TDs. So Orchard Farm apparently brought out the passing game and created havoc for the Dragons.
Yep. Ladue 28 and Fox 7. Fox's woes are still the same as well. I guess that's all we're going to say about that. Moving on, Hillsboro 48 and Poplar Bluff 14.
328 collective yards on the ground for the Hawks. Jackson Patterson, 15 carries, 118. Peyton Brown, 114 yards on 11 carries, 2 TDs. Austin Romaine, he finishes the season with 695 yards on the ground. So that was just a collective ground and pound game by Coach Saharsky against the Mules from Poplar Bluff.
Too many weapons.
Yep, that's what the name of the game is over there for the Hillsboro Hawks. St. Genevieve 42, Kelly 14. Moving on then, Grandview 26, Chaffee 21, and a nail biter.
That it was. Caught an interview with Coach Kimenow at the end of the game on that, and it was a late score against Chaffee, and that's what sealed the deal for Grandview. And basically he said, to paraphrase, that it was nice to end the season with a win to head into the playoffs, at least with a foot in the right direction. So the team's excited, the coach is excited. So that's always positive to hear heading into that second season. Can make anybody dangerous. So again, you got an invite to the dance, so you're just as dangerous as anybody.
That's right.
Well, and a couple of things I want to highlight for Grandview too, Matt. Nashmore, an exciting underclassman, had a very decent season as a running back, 20 carries for 168 yards. But I really want to highlight the senior Austin Blankenship on defense, and he's among the defensive leaders, both in total tackles and solo tackles in the area. In this game, he had 19 total tackles, including 13 solo. And that's just outrageous to me.
Awesome. Moving
Blankenship's been a beast.
Yes, he has.
Yeah. We'll touch base a lot a bit on this particular game here. Crystal City 32, Herculaneum 14.
Well, this is one I know I had highlighted a few weeks ago, and we, kind of highlighted it on our own as we went along here the last couple of weeks. But I have been of the opinion that regardless of Crystal City's schedule on that independent level, when you look at the way they finished their season, and I say this with all due respect, they have 2 kids that rushed for 500 yards plus. One kid, Caden Bolden, almost finished with 600 yards, but they have 5 kids that have 250 yards rushing or more. I'm just saying, on a ground game, and I know that they're a Class 1 school, but I would just say on a comparative narrative, that offense is just as dangerous as that of Hillsboro. You don't have one back that is the one you can key on. And when you've got 5 backs that are averaging 250 plus, 2 kids that are Well, I mean, you got Caden Rafferty, 105 carries, 673 yards. You have three kids that have 500 yards. So you can't take just one of their kids lightly when they get the ball, because it's just, and I use that phrase, wash, rinse, repeat. When you can bring in the same kind of back and you're knocking out 9, 10, 11 yards, averaging a carry, that's impressive no matter what class or what schedule you have.
Yeah, Matt, what impressed me most about that game was the Crystal City's front defensive four really dominating the line of scrimmage and stopping any kind of run up the middle, anything between the tackles from Mike Maloney. They had to go to Lucas Barr outside quite a bit, off tackle and around the end, to gain any yardage at all. And unfortunately, it put them in a situation where they're having to throw, trying to get first downs, trying to come back. And that's been the Achilles heel for Herculaneum so much during the schedule. They're coming from behind. And what that leads to is, unfortunately, Jackson Deering 5 interceptions in the last 2 games. As he's throwing it up there. He's gained a lot of yards and a lot of receptions, but the last few weeks he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns, and it just puts the offense and puts Deering in a bad situation when they're trying to come from behind like that, and the defenders up front can pin their ears back and just go forward, and they're going to throw the ball and drop back in coverage.
You're exactly right, Jeff. And and kudos to Deering. I mean, he finishes 8th in the area with 1,749 yards of passing, but when you're not able to get Lucas Barr, as it seems to be, 7 receptions, 33 yards. Once again, another game where he doesn't get 100 yards, which equates to a Herculaneum loss. I mean, again, it's just the numbers and the way they line out. Barr doesn't get 100 yards in receiving. Herky doesn't win the ball game. I mean, he does rush, 16 carries for 102 yards. But yeah, I mean, one of the other things that stood out was Maloney. I mean, you give him the ball 15 times, and the young man who, I mean, we've called him like a human bowling ball.
Yeah.
15 carries, only 38 yards. And so, I mean, that I think, as we had talked off camera, that is a testament to Crystal City's up front line, because if Maloney's only getting 38 yards, and that's 15 carries, I mean, that young man's getting stopped early, and that would have to be penetration by your D line. So kudos to Coach Fox for being able to, get a stiff upper lip. And like we said, this would be Crystal City's probably toughest test. And they more than stood up when battle called. Caden Rafferty, 17 carries, 151 yards for Crystal City. So, I mean, up and down, they gave Herky everything that they could ask for and then some.
Hey, we're catching up here with Coach Dan Fox of the Crystal City Hornets. How you doing, Coach?
Good.
Awesome. And big win this past Friday over Herculaneum by the score of 32-14. Take us through the game here, just maybe some key plays that you thought was the difference in the game.
Yeah, I mean, we had I didn't anticipate this at all. I thought it was going to be one of those grind-out battle type of games, offensively and defensively for both teams. But we ended up our first offensive play of the game. Our fullback ended up running a long run for about 60 yards for a touchdown. And so at that point, I think our kids got a little bit of momentum. And then we ended up having a pick six there, I think, early in the second quarter, go up 14-0. And then towards the end of the first half, we got the ball back. I mean, I thought our defense played extremely well. And we got the ball back with about a minute left. We decided that we were just going to try to run the ball and, just kind of bleed out the clock and go into halftime with the 14-0 lead. We were happy with that. And then all of a sudden, on the very next play, our fullback, Caden Raftery, got another long run, about 65, 70 yards, if I remember. And he got caught about the 2-yard line, which gave us the opportunity to go ahead and punch the ball in, late in the first half to get us a 20. Oh, I can't remember what they scored again with the extra time at the end of the half. So it was 26 at half, 28 at half, I think. And then our offense kind of struggled the second half, but we didn't have the ball a lot. And we played a lot of defense against Herky, and they were matriculating little drives here and there, and they were doing some good things against us. But our defense is a bend but don't break defense, and we ended up. We had a kickoff return for a touchdown with about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And then on the final play of the game, we ended up having another pick six for about 99 yards to put it 32-14.
All right, absolutely. We'll talk a little bit about the 8-1 season. What does that mean to you? Especially with the choice, and we've talked about this throughout our other Upon Further Review shows. The amount of guts it takes to kind of take a step back, kind of pull out of the JCAA conference team with those teams, so to speak, kind of retool, kind of revamp, and then all of a sudden, you're building this up in a couple of years. And I know you guys got to be, you got to be real happy with the results.
Yeah, everybody. I've been vocal about this before. We pulled out of the JCAA conference mostly because we just don't have enough students to field a JV team, and our young freshmen have got to learn as the season goes that they're going to play, and we want to play against teams in similar situations. Kind of make it apples to apples. I'm happy with the results we have. We've got a good dedicated group of kids right now to the football program, and pretty strong junior and freshman class of kids that just are excited to play football and smart. And so we're taking advantage of the opportunity of playing similar schools in our position. Still picking up some other JCAA schools that want to play us from time to time just to see where we're at as a good stick of measurement like we did Friday night. And our kids can't show up to play, and I was happy for them and the community.
Yeah, absolutely. The community, especially. I know that they're pretty geeked up, pretty excited. Been all year, and you guys have not disappointed. You walk into week one of the districts against Louisiana. You played them already and beaten them, so I would think a similar game plan as the last game. Possibly is that going to be put in place?
Maybe. I mean, they're scary. They've changed up their offense quite a bit, and they're starting to score a lot of points. And they actually beat a fairly good Wright City school, Class 3 school, Friday night. And we got to make some modifications. We're going to have to play some really good defense again against these guys. And I'm not forgetting a year ago when they beat us by 20 points, running a very similar defense or offense. So I hate playing the team twice in a year, but we're really cautious about this game. We're not looking past it whatsoever.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the time catching up with you, and congratulations on the successful season, and good luck to you in the district playoffs.
Thank you. We'll need it. Appreciate it.
That's Coach Dan Fox from the Crystal City Hornets. Moving on here, Valley Catholic repeats 10-0, goes 10-0 on the season, or 9-0 I should say, sorry. But kudos to Valley Catholic, 46-16 win over Kennett. And our final score here, Seckman 48 and Webster Groves 6, and Seckman definitely rolling as well.
Well, okay, then let's just talk about the holy trinity of running backs, and we'll start with Cole Rubel, who finishes the year first in scoring, 234 points. Not one other kid in the area even had 200.
Wow.
37 touchdowns, phenomenal. Against Parkway Central, a short day at the office, 8 carries, only 225 yards, 4 TDs. And, standard Cole Rubel, 5 of 5 in passing, 87 yards, but finishes first in rushing. He finished 17 yards shy of $2,000. That is some tough sledding for 9 weeks. And then we'll touch on Emmanuel and Job Smith here in just a minute. But, again, we see week after week Cole Rubel, the beating, the pounding he takes, but he can make short work. When you're only getting eight carries, with your briefcase for the day at the office,
right?
8 carries and he scores 4 TDs. There was no answer for Parkway Central against him. And as we've said, I think week after week, Jeff, if he could play a full game and you don't want to embarrass the other team, his totals would be just off the chart.
Yeah, sitting in the second half was the wise move there, resting him for the playoffs. But when I think of these guys, and you said the holy trinity of backs this year in the area, I just think to myself, to be 18 again and to be in the best shape of my life. 'Cause,
Yeah, Kevin Emanuel out at Eureka finishes third in scoring, second in rushing. Job Smith, fourth in scoring, fourth in rushing. Emanuel finishes the year 1796, 4 yards shy of 1800 for the year. Job Smith finishes with 1419, had 18 carries, 127 yards, and only one TD against Sullivan. But I mean, there was just some tough sledding. Eureka, Emmanuel, they were up 39-0 at the half, but Emmanuel already had 3 TDs in his 24 minutes of time in the first 2 quarters. So, Coach Sumner, doing what he can to try to protect his main ingredient as well. So, get him in, get him the carries, and set him out, and get ready for the second season. It's going to be interesting.
And we are back with our Week 10 matchups. This is actually Week 1 of the district playoffs here. So things are going to start getting really serious here real quick, and we'll go through these games here. We'll talk about our Friday Night Blitz game of the week here. SLU at Seckman.
Let's talk about SLU real quick, because this was a team that there is a common opponent that's going to be floating around here as we talk about some of these games. Let's talk about Cardinal Ritter, who's at Class 3, beat SLU, who's at Class 6. They beat them 44-0. And we saw the way they hung in there and went toe-for-toe with Hillsboro. So Cardinal Ritter not getting outclassed, going up 3 classes to play a Class 6 team, shuts out SLU High 44-0. So that should, at least from a coaching standpoint, throw that in your back pocket, that Co-Rubel might – this could be a game where I'm saying now in the playoffs, if you want to run the score up to 80-0, whatever, I plan on Rubel playing all 4 quarters. And it's just going to be, I think, let's just see if SLU – you're going to have to find somebody at some point who's going to try to contain him. And I don't think this is going to be one of those weeks, Jeff.
Yeah, your first week here, you're talking the 3 seed Seckman versus the 6 seed SLU, and it's just a down year for a program at St. Louis University High that that's been very competitive over the years, and just a kind of going through a little bit of a rebuild right now. I don't think they have the personnel that can match up, and even if they put a hat or a couple of hats on Rubel that can contain them, Matt.
There we go. Move up here to the Louisiana Crystal City game. Matt, you said you had some things you wanted to talk about on this one.
Well, this was just a week 2 matchup where Crystal City beat Louisiana 40-20 at home. And again, with the rushing, it was a game Caden Rafferty had 20 carries for 175 yards, so he averaged over 8.5 yards a pop. I don't see why Crystal City can't do the same thing again. But, again, this is a game going into where, you've already played this team once. There shouldn't be any surprises. So I would hang my hat on Coach Fox having what I call a second season week 1 win against Louisiana, and they should be moving on from that game.
And after last week and having egg on my face, my freezing cold take, and picking Herculaneum over Crystal City, I am going to predict, gentlemen, that Crystal City will defeat Louisiana by a larger margin of victory than they did the first time around in the regular season.
Ooh, bold predictions. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Sykeston at Festus. Should be an interesting one.
Boy, I tell you, if Festus plays mistake-free, they should be able to win this game. They've got to spread the ball around.
There you go. Bayless at Herculaneum.
Blackheads just can't afford to stub their toe and give Bayless an opportunity to hang around. I think that's going to be the only thing. But once again, as I said earlier, I think my key to the game, you got to get Lucas Barr 100 yards receiving, because if he gets over that, that equates to a Herculaneum win. At least that's what it has on paper. If he doesn't, Herculaneum will be going out week 1. So.
All right.
Well, and I will say this too, to that end, and I agree with you, Matt. But I would say Herculaneum, the key to success in this game is a ball control offense, short passes, runs, keep the Bayless offense off the field as much as possible, because that's where they can quick strike you and come back. And the more you can keep those guys on the defensive side and wear them down, the better the game will go for you.
Absolutely.
Agree.
Northwest at Marquette.
Boy, to me, this is almost like a flip coin. And I mean that with all due respect. Honestly, that it's I mean, Marquette, even in at 8-1, I think it's a game that if they go to sleep at the wheel, it just I just think this game might be closer than what it's going to seem to be on paper with the records between the two teams.
Okay.
How's that for a hot take, ladies and gentlemen?
Hot take, Matt Bates. There we go. Love it, love it. Fox at Poplar Bluff. That's going to be a tough one for Fox.
Yeah, I mean, the Mules just coming off their 52-0 waxing of Festus. I think they're going to be more than ready to handle whatever Fox can throw at them.
Right, cut right there, Matt. That was you mean you meant to say Jackson's waxing of Festus 52-0? You said the Mules Poplar Bluff.
Right.
Say it again.
So say it again, but say it again.
All right. Who did Poplar? They played Hillsboro.
That's right.
And they got waxed by Hillsboro.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Okay. Poplar Bluff, Jackson. Okay.
They're all the same. They're all Southeast Missouri.
Waiting on you.
Yep. So Poplar Bluff should be ready to go after the battle they had against Hillsboro. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game turns out, as Poplar Bluff should have a little bit of a burr in their saddle.
Well, and just to say about this, it's been a disappointing season for the Festus Tigers and Coach O'Fadele, and I think this game will be sort of a barometer or measuring stick to see just how interested this team is in going forward and playing their best in the playoffs, and seeing how much fight they have in them, or if they've already packed their bags and waiting on their tee times for golf.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Festus responds after the beating that Jackson gave them.
I agree.
All right. Perryville, Farmington.
Knights should take care of this, but Perryville has shown that if you look at their record on paper, they're a little more imposing than what you would think. So I think this could be another game of tough sledding down south. So this is another one I think you might be able to flip a coin. It could go both ways.
Yeah, I think that Farmington should be able to beat Perryville handily, but I'm telling you right now, Perryville is going to be a problem in the future.
All right. Webster Groves at Oakville.
I like the Oakville Tigers in this one.
Yeah, the once proud Webster Statesmen are just another down. They've won one game in their last 23 or 22 now appearances over the last few seasons, and I very, very slim chances against the Oakville Tigers in this one.
Okay, Grandview St. Pius.
I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy day, but this should be a game that St. Pius handles. But again, as I said, Coach Kimenow, coming off the win to end the season, the boys might be a little amped up. So it might be a game where it's either going to be a running clock or Grandview's going to hang around a lot longer than St. Pius wants them to.
Yeah, St. Pius at home. I like their chances any day on this one. And to me, the main thing is, does James Smith get back into this game and get some reps so that he is primed and ready to go for the rest of the district playoffs?
Okay. DeSoto, North County.
Well, this is going to be some tough sledding, as both teams are just kind of treading in the same capacity. And as we said last week with, DeSoto playing Orchard Farm, that maybe, we thought this would be a way for Coach Willen to get another victory under their belt. But when you look at the way North County got beat by Sullivan, I almost say it might be possible that DeSoto could sneak up on this. But I think it's just going to depend on how they could be able to contain Job Smith, because if they can't corral him, it's going to be a tough day at the office.
Well, as our friend Matt King from Daily Journal down there said last week, it was kind of a stinker of a game for North County. But in their defense, they had two of their two-way starters out of the lineup that they were resting that had nagging injuries, and Carter Kekek and Andrew Sivey. And those two guys are both very important. Carter Kekek, the number one receiver for North County, gives them another option. And Andrew Sivey, one of their most important defensive players, and at linebacker, and also Kekek plays corner. So I expect those guys to be back, and I expect them to not have any problems with the Dragons, unfortunately for the Dragons.
Yeah. This is the game that I'm going to call an upset here. Windsor and Gateway STEM. I really believe that Windsor can hang with Gateway STEM and possibly pull off a little bit of an upset there. I think that's a 4-5 matchup.
Yeah, I like Windsor's chances in this one, as Gateway STEM. This was a team that lost to Crystal City 24-22, and I think Coach Funston can just stick to his game plan. And if he can get Jordan Foster the ball, and he has another day at the office like he did with the 24 carries, 252, and 4 TDs, should be able to give Gateway STEM all they can handle and then some.
If you're looking at all of these district quarterfinal games and all of the lower seeds versus the higher seeds, this is the one game where you can look at and say, this would be ripe for an upset here. The 5 beating a 4 in the quarterfinals.
John Burroughs traveling down to your Jefferson Blue Jays there, Jeff Whitener.
The land of the Blue Jay squawk, yes. Obviously, we know Jefferson's been playing much better as the season's progressed, and their last 2 weeks probably were their finest games of the season. But John Burroughs going to present some problems for the Blue Jays, both in pass coverage and speed of some of their backs. So I look for Jefferson should be able to win this game if they play like they're capable of and playing the way they played the last couple of weeks. However, turnovers, costly penalties, and you can let the 5 seed right back in the door. And this game, I think, is going to be closer than most people think.
I agree with that too, Jeff. The Bombers over there, Brandon Biggs, 124 carries on the season, 783 yards. You've got 2 other backs that are just over. You got another kid that's almost at 300 yards and another one almost at 400 yards. So if you can't stop the Bombers' rushing attack, that's going to be critical and crucial in order for them to come out with a win in this one.
Our final game of
the
first week of districts here, DeBerg at U City.
Just score and put some points up. Be productive if you're a Cavaliers fan for Bishop DeBerg.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, DeBerg hasn't won a game this season, but boy, they've looked so much better than they did last year. There's a reason for optimism, and I agree, Matt. Go out there, be productive. Yeah, what do you got to lose? Fly around. If you're a senior and this could be your last game, let it all out.
Absolutely.
Once again, Bishop DeBerg, playoff game. Just, again, put the pads on. You're invited to the dance, so make the most of it.
We want to mention the teams that aren't playing this week, and those will be the number 1 seeds. Jeff has that list.
Absolutely, guys. Your Class 1 District 1 quarterfinal first round bye goes to St. Vincent. They're the number 1 seed, I-55 Conference champions. And the Class 3 District 1, Valley Catholic, also a number 1 seed. They get the first round bye. In Class 4 District 1, Hillsboro, again, the number 1 seed, and rightly so. They also have a first round bye. And the Eureka Wildcats in Class 5 District 2, the number 1 seed, they also benefit from the first round bye. So we'll see those guys all in the semifinals next week. Be talking about them.
Well, we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks again for watching today's episode of Upon Further Review. Don't forget to check our website out, livestreamstl.tkdssports.com, for all of our information and schedules. Getting ready to flip the script here to jump into basketball season as well pretty soon, so we'll be covering that down the road. If you haven't done so, follow us over on Livestream STL on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. We're everywhere, so check that out at Livestream STL. For Ray Halbrook, for Matt Bates and Jeff Whitener, so long. We'll see you down the road.